Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're just about to begin our service, and we begin by making sure that we are appropriately attired. So for Hayden's bat mitzvah, she will put on her talit. We'll say it together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hitatef v'tzitzit. So we will begin our service on page 65. We rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan nosach pi bina levein ben yom uvein laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech shasani b'tzor amaho.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech shasani ben horin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tokech v'Ibrahim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam abish arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hatzir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rakarat al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesalikot zarki. Baruch
Amen.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam amachem matzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer shel gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer shel tzipara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam manaten le'ayef koah.
Amen.
You may be seated. Bottom of page 65. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Odnenu chayom oyom l'chenu chaser rachamim v'necha v'nekoreinu v'tegam lenu chasadim tovim baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael yehi ratzon mechanecha Adonai Elohai v'avatai shetzeitinachem ben shem u'ben brit ben shem u'ben brit ru'en chalayim ha'matnun Mana u'marteinu u'matzikenu mashenu u'matmenu u'marteinu mana u'marteinu u'marteinu אבל אנחנו מתחת לבני ברמתך לפיכך אנחנו אשרנו מה טבחינו מה נמגורנו מה יפשטנו אשרנו שאנחנו משקיעים עריפים מערב בבוקר רמיים בכל יום שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד אתה הוא שלום אתה הוא משהו בעולם אתה הוא בעולם הזה אלוהים הבא קדש לנו שמעך ובשמעך Baruch atah Adonai b'kadesh ברבים אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו בשמיים ובארץ ושמי שמיים עליונים אמת הראשון ואחרון האחרון בית אביתכם כי אתה נתכם לשם צלב הארץ בשבתי שבתכם לנחם אמר אדוני. We choose one of the following texts to help prepare our mind to think about what it is to follow in God's footsteps. מה רבי קמא ורבי חנינא, מה עשיתי ואחרי אדוני לכם תלכו. וכי אפשר לא לאדם לחלוך אחרי שכינה, אלא לחלוך אחר מידותיו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. אנחנו מלביש ארומים אך אתה הלבש ארומים הקדוש ברוך הוא, וכחולים אך אתה וכחולים. תורה תהילה מצצדים בסוף הגמות צצדים תהילה מצצדים תקציב. יהי רצון לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו בתינו, שתיתן הגנת חפציך. בנעימת עבדיו של אחרון הכהן אוהב של הרב שלום, אוהב את הבריות ומקרבן לתורה. קדיש דרבנן, page 71. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רביו. בעלמד יפרח חירותי, וימלך מלכותי. וחייכון ומכון חיי דכל בית ישראל. לגלה בזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רב ומבורך, לעולם עולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי בקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמרן בעלמה ואמרו אמן על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידיהם ועל כל תלמידי תלמידיהם ועל כל מאן דעסקין ברייתא דיבי תורה הדין בדיקול אתר ואתר יהי לכון ולכון שלום רבה הנה וחיסתא ברחמים וחיים עריכן ומזון הרוויחה ופרקנה מן קדם אבכון דבשמיא ואמרו אמן יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וחיים הטובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן עשה שלום במרומה וברחמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. The song for Shabbat, page 72. היום יום של הקודש, ואת המקדש, משמר שילה, ישום השבת צבללות, אדוני זמר שמך אדוני. מרגלו מעשיך אדוני, מעולם כל משפטיך, איש ולא יודע. כי נבח אדוני, כי נבח יאבדו, כל כלי אלן. צדיק אתם יפר כצבנו, יזכה שתלם בבית אדוני בתולה יפריחו. דינובן בסביבה בשנברנים, יהיו להגיד קצר אדוני צרי ולא בלטה בו. Page 81. Actually, wait, time out. Page 80, the song for the season of repentance. David Adonai Shemi Yira Adonai Melchami Mechan Kavolim Naroim Nafil Tetzarai. Im Tachana Lai Machanelo Yirani Bi Im Takum Alai Machama Bezodani Botea. Achash Azam Kesh Shifting Let Adonai Kolim Mechayo. לא יאמצי דרבתו אדוני בארץ חיים, קבל אדוני הזק באמת ליבך וקבל אל אדוני. Page 81. מזמור שיר חנוכת, המי לנביא הרמוכת, אוהב עלי, זמר אדוני זכר קדשו ירם. שמע אדוני בחנני הנעזר לי, הפכת מסלק שכיס אני שמחה למען שכון אדם, אדוני לפי לעולם עודך. Mourner's Kaddish, page 82. Yitzgadal, Yitzgadash, Shemerabah. V'alma, Tivrach, Rotei, V'amlech Malchutei. V'chayachon, V'yamachon, V'chayed Chol Beit Yisrael. V'agalat V'zman Kari, V'yamru. Amen. Yehei Shemerabah Malorach, Le'olam Elamei Omayah. Yitbarach, V'shtabach, V'ta'ar, V'tromam, V'tnaseh. V'tadar, V'taleh, V'talel, Shmei D'Kudsha, B'richu. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה דמרן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עשה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. Page 83, we rise. ברוך שאמר והיה העולם ברוך הוא, ברוך עושה בראשית, ברוך אומר ועושה. Baruch Azem Kaim Baruch Hamal Achet Baruch Hamal Brion Baruch Padel Matzi Baruch Shemo Baruch Atad Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Haolam Akum V'Yam Yechid Helamim Melech Meshubach Shemo Hagato Baruch Atad Adonai Melech Melech Matish Bachot. You may be seated, page 84. So on these pages we continue to find ourselves, to find the words, to acknowledge the blessing of our lives, to recognize the peace that we strive for, the hope that we work towards. כי כל הימים אלילים באדוני שמיים עשה עוד והרה לפניו והלבה במקומו ושמתמים הבוצים הנה מכאן כל הארץ אף תקנתי ובלתי בו ישמחו שמיים בצגל הארץ ויאמרו ותמיים אדוני מלאכים ואדוני כתב כי ללמדתו ואמרו ישנו לא ישנו רוב ממורדני אלוהינו ושרב קדושו רוב ממורדני אלוהינו ושרב קדושו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. Page 86, ותורך מקבל נשית ולמדתו זכורך עמך אדוני בחסדך Adonai tzchol asheram boteach ba, Adonai shemalch yaneinu v'yom koreinu. Hoshia damecha, uvarech et nachlatecha. Morem, 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 benasem, morem, benasem Adonai. Hoshia damecha, uvarech et nachlatecha. Nafsinu mitzalah naim zainu lakon. Vani bazi shvatzacha shilaki gamalai, page 87. Lam natzeach nishmar leDavid hashamayim mesaper kodel masei adav makidar piha yom le'onevia omer v'layla le'oledah. Torah Adonai Tamima, the Torah of God is perfect, reviving the spirits. The decrees of Adonai are sure, enlightening the simple. The precepts of God are just, gladdening the heart. The mitzvot of Adonai are clear, opening the eyes. The fear of God is pure, enduring forever. The laws of God are true, altogether just. They are more precious than gold and sweeter than honey. Page 88, David Beshanato Atamato Lifnei Melech, Grace Vayela, Kavachad, and Navicolai Tamim, the Holy Sabbath. Sakor Adonai Shameha Mekosim. Kod Adonai Nefesh Avata V'lo Yishmu Kol HaSimbo Tefillah LaMoshe Ish Elohim, page 89. Yemei Shnotenu V'hem 70 Shana V'im Gvurot 80 Shana V'rachom Amal V'even Ki Gam Chi V'nafa מיודע עוזבך וקראתך עברתך למנות ימינו כנותיו ונביא לך חכמה שוב אדוני עד מתי וכנחם על עבדה והיינו אמר אדוני אלוהי עלינו מעשה ידינו כונן עלינו מעשה ידינו כונננו יושב בסתר עליון בצל שדי גילו לכננו אומר לאדוני מצדם ויוצאך מפח יחוש בדבר חבול מרצו יסך לך תחת כנפיו תכסם. Orach Gami Masbiyehu Rei Vishuati Orach Gami Masbiyehu Varechu Vishuati, page 91. Shamarnai Odei Adonai Sham Beit Adonai Be'etzbeit Eloheinu Lo Yagid Lameinu K'navati Yechol B'chol Lo Yas Yisrael Zkulato Yirati Ki Gadol Adonai Be'adonai B'kol Elohim Kol Asher Chafetz Adonai Atah B'shamayim U'ba'aretz Sheikha B'chorei Mitzrayim Adam Ad Behema Shelach Otot Motzim B'tochech Mitzrayim Sheikha Goyim Rabim Me'arog Malakim Atzim Lesichon Melech Amorei Olog Melech Habashan Beit Yisrael B'chot Adonai Beit Aaron B'chot Adonai Beit HaLevi B'chot Adonai Yirei Adonai B'chot Adonai Baruch Adonai B'Shem Shalayim Hallelujah. We rise, page 92. Od Adonai Ki Tov Ki Le'olam Ha'asov Od Elohei HaElohim Ki Le'olam Ha'asov Od Adonai Adonim Ki Le'olam Ha'asov Lo Sanif Lahor Gena Levaro Ki Le'olam Ha'asov Le'osei Shamayim Bedona Ki Le'olam Ha'asov Kila Masdom. Natan lechem lechol basar, Kila Masdom, Lehel Hashamayim, Kila Masdom. We're on page 93. You may be seated. Kuraranu tzadikim l'Adonai Shabbat tehillah Adonai mekenu v'neval shamar. Ki asharat Adonai v'chol masechon v'chol tzedakah mishpat chesed Adonai melach ha'aretz v'var Adonai shamayim nasu v'vachim. Natzad Adonai le'olam ta'amod nashvat v'god ador ador ashrei hagoy asher m'shamayim avit Adonai melchon. נפשנו יקל אדוני עזרנו מגיננו כי הוא יסלח ליבנו כי בשם קדשו בטחנו יעזדך אדוני עלינו כאשר יכולנו לך. We turn to Ashrei, page 96. אשרי יושב ביתך עוד אלוה סלע. אשרי המשכך אלוה שם שני אלוה. תהילת לדוד הרומם חדני המלך השם עליהם בגדול. גדול המלך. זכר על סופי יביאו חצי. פותח את ידיך ומתרצון צדיק אדוני ברבוסם. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי וברך כל בשר שם קדשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך גם את אבי העולם. Hallelujah. So we're on page 97. We are in the 146th Psalm. Now, there was an idea in the Jewish tradition, in the Gemara, that every day we should recite and go through the entire book of Psalms, all 150. And the rabbi said, okay, but if we did that, there wouldn't be time for any other prayer, there wouldn't be time for work. And so the idea came to each day recite Psalm 145 through 150 to symbolically complete the book of Psalms and to feel that. And there are plenty of seats on this side of the room too. Hallelujah, nafshi Adonai, azam rabbeodi, alsin vedim, meshin tetzerukos. V'amdash matov, sheshalalapo, sheshalalapo. Adonai matirasim, Adonai shomer et kevim yetum me'adat yerdech, et yaveh et imloch Adonai le'olam alayim v'tor, hallelujah, hallelujah, pitazoheinu k'navat tehina, v'nei Yerushalayim, v'matzta shamayim ba'aretz. Hashem Gula Shalom Chalem Magi Devrav Yaakov Okav Misav LaYisrael Asachena Kol Mashum Hallelujah 99 Hallelujah Min Shamayim Hallelujah B'Amromim Hallelujah Kol Malachal Kol Tzevav Shashar Yaakov Ve'or Yeshuv Halak Shal Fekito וירן כרמות אלה לחורתיתם לבני ישראל המתרחו, הללויה. הללויה, שנשיר חדש, תברכו הציתים. ישמח ישראל בעושיו, בני ציון יגילו במלכיו. לא שומע כל בתוך בכינור, וזמרו לו, כי רוצה אדוני בו. לעשור מלכים מזיקים לקבלי ברזל, לעשות במשחק, כתוב בספידה, הללויה. So the last psalm is in the middle of page 100. Hallelujah, bekadshon, hallelujah, bekiyavuso, hallelujah, bekorotav, hallelujah, kerokulo, hallelujah, betekashochar, hallelujah, beneva bechinor, hallelujah, betof machol, hallelujah, beminim behugav, hallelujah, betzitzilei shama, hallelujah, betzitzilei tshuva, kol anshamat, hallelujah, kol anshamat hallelujah, hallelujah. Baruch ne'elam v'yamin v'yamin, baruch hallelujah. Baruch Shem Gadol Eretz, amen v'yamin. So over the course of the service, there's a lot of standing up and sitting down. It's not just to see if you're paying attention, although that doesn't hurt. It's to help us focus. At certain times when we recite certain verses, we're trying to connect in a little bit of a different way. And sometimes we need to make the spiritual physical. And so by standing up, we're saying, okay, we're paying attention to this. It's not saying we're not paying attention, we're sitting down. It's just a different type of focus. So we're going to rise on the next couple of pages as we go through some verses from Chronicles and Nehemiah, talking about the blessings of the covenant ויברך דוד את נקלך ויאמר דוד ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו עשם ונעלם כי כל השמיים אתה הוא אדוני לבדך תעשה השמיים וכותבה הארץ וכל אשר עליך וכל אשר בקם אתה הוא אדוני אלוהים אשר בחרת באברהם וחרתי מעברת נתת הארץ הכנעני כי תהיה מרי פריזים ויבקעת לפניכם ויראו את החיים ביבשה וברכם יסתכנו כמו אבן במים עזים ויושע אדוני וימחו את ישוע ממצרים וירא ישראל את מצרים על שפת הים וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה אשר עשה אדוני במצרים וירום אדוני ואמינו באדוני משה עבדו אשר משה ובני ישראל את אשר עשו לאדוני ואמרו לאמור אשר לאדוני כי גאל גאל ספר רמה בים עזי וזמרת הרבה לישועה זה נגלה כלנו מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדע בקודש נראתי לו את הספר אז נקרא לפי אדום ולפי מואב וחזים רען מרגו כשרי קננתי כל לכם ממתה וככה אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד You may be seated כי לאדוני המלכה בשבעים בעולם השם אחר ציון לשפר תחתיו ויתן לאדוני מלכה ואת המלך על כל הארץ וימלך אדוני אחד ושמו אחד So at the bottom of page 103 we'll read together At dawn I seek you refuge, rock sublime. My morning prayers I offer in those at evening time. I tremble in your awesome presence contrite. For my deepest secrets lie stripped before your sight. My tongue, what can it say? My heart, what can it do? What is my strength? What is my spirit too? But should music be sweet to you in mortal key, your praises will I sing so long as breath is within me. And that poem comes from 11th century Spain, from Shlomo ibn Gabirol. It's a relatively new addition to the liturgy from the 11th century. Page 104. Nishmat kol chai, tvarach Hashem Adonai Eloheinu, v'roch kol basar, tzipar beinu mechem, v'lamed olam atay elamedecha. Ilu finu meshachem. If song could fill our mouths as water fills the sea, could joy flood our tongue like countless waves, could our lips utter praise as limitless as the sky, could our eyes match the splendor of the sun, could we soar with arms like an eagle's wings or run with gentle grace as the swiftest deer, never could we fully state our gratitude for 1/10,000th of the lasting love that is your precious blessing, dearest God, granted to our ancestors and to us. Mimitzrayim galtanu Adonai Eloheinu be'etabedim v'jatanu razantanu Eloheinu laneheta Alkein evarim sevaramanu v'nokshana asnakavatenu v'lashon sevaram Mir melach u'mi'ashkelach u'mi'achlach Hayel hagadol hagibor v'nara elayon b'nei shamayim v'aharet Ne'alach kon shebechon farachon v'rech et shem kasher kadmor le'david Barchi nashnei b'kol karavai et shem kadshahu Hayel atzmot uzecha gadol b'kod shemecha Hagibor lenetef v'nara meletecha melechai yoshev al kiseram benisa So now we are in the middle of page 105. The service this morning is broken up into different sections. So what we've done so far is the morning blessings, the verses of Psalm Psuke de Zimra. Now we're going into the Shacharit service. This will have the Shema, the closest thing Jews have to a creed, acknowledging that we are servants of the Holy One and that God is one. Then we'll have the Amidah, our time for personal prayer and meditation. Then after that, we'll have the Torah service to hear the words of Torah, the words from the Bible, and we will read from the prophets, from Isaiah. And then, once we put the Torah away, we have another opportunity for personal prayer. Oh, well, there'll be some talking in there too. So it's the service I always think of as like working our way up a mountain. We are trying to reach that place where our hearts are open, where we are able to pray. Because, when you pick up the phone with someone, you don't start with the heavy stuff first. You start, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Da, 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 da. Then you start having the conversation. You gotta work into it. So the same is true with prayer. So now we bring in the big guns, and Cantor is the one with the voice. So we'll start singing together, page 105, Shochenan.
Shochenan Marom Mekadosh Shemo B'chatuv Ranenu Tzadikim Baronai Laisharim Nava Tehila B'fi Sharim Titalal Uvdivrei Tzadikim Tiparach ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ומחלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל. שכן חובת כל עצם לבניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, להלל ולקלס, על כל ימי שבעות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך.
Page 106.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול ותשבחות, אל ההודות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אלוקי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רמה, בעלמא תברכנותה, וימליך מלכותה בחיי כל ימי חיינו וחיינו בישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה בברך, לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו, לעילה מחובקתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונקמתה, דמירה בעלמא, ואמרו אמן.
107, we have the call to worship. Before the Kriyat Shema, page 107.
אין כן ככל אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זאת גם מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בן תגעגעו עלינו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים.
Sing together on page 108. The words in English letters are at the bottom of the page.
אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, God v'tov amalei olam, dat u'tmuna sova v'imoto, hamitzkae al chayot hakodesh, v'nedar v'chavod al hamerkava, zechut u'mishol lifnei chiso, chesed v'rachamim lifnei kevodo, טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נאה זיוון בכל העולם שמחים בתתם וששים במועם, עושים בהם הרצון קונם. פר וכבוד נותנים לשמו, צהלה ורינה לשכלי מלכותו. קרא לשמש וישרח, רב והתקין צורת הלבנה. שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ואופנים בחיות הקודש, לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים. כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים, וכולם עושים בהם אווירה, רצון קונם, וכולם פותחים את פיהם, בקדושה וטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא קדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ונעימה כנושה. כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך כל הארץ כבודו. באופנים בחיות הקודש, ברש גדול, בנסים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
So on page 111, we gather our tzitzit, the corners, the fringes on the corner of our garment, imagining a world of perfection and redemption for all. And in a way, 111 and 112, this is God saying, I love you, and the Shema Yisrael, and we say, Ve'ahavta, that we offer our love to God. So in many ways, it's really saying, God saying, I love you, and we're saying, I love you too. So you don't often think, I think for a lot of people, the idea of God loves you is something that seems foreign to Judaism, but in fact, it ain't. It's been around for a very long time. And it's right here in these verses that come from the Torah itself.
Ma'avienu l'shalom me'arva kanvot haaretz v'tolichenu komemiut le'atzenu ki el po'el yeshuatata Uvanu v'karda mikol ha'melashon Mekeravtanu l'shimcha hagadol Sela be'emet lehodol lecha U'yachecha b'yahava Baruch atah Adonai, hamoker b'mo Yisrael, be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Adonai Elohechem emet v'yatzim v'lakom v'yom yishom. Lenol madorachem v'shmo kayam v'yison achol v'agonom v'moraton la'ad kayamet v'rav chaim v'kayamim na'anim v'nechnim la'ad v'lo me'olamim. אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו מלך אבותינו מכנו מלך אבותינו גואלנו גואל אבותינו יוצרנו צור ישועתנו פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך Me'olam.
We are on page 114. After we'll sing the bottom of the page, we'll rise together on 115b and remain standing for our personal prayer. We'll start out together. If you are looking for an English-only version or you want a meditation to help get you started for your personal prayer, on page 121, there'll be an option there as well. Everything is translated.
תהילו ליום ברוך וברך, משה בני ישראל חרו שילה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוספת שיר החדשה שימחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל קומה מעזרת ישראל ובטח דמך יהודה וישראל גאלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל
Begin together.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק אלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל אלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור מהנורא אל עליון גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ומביא גואלים לבניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר חוקין ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני בחיים איתי מטרה והושיע מכלכל חיים בחסד בחיי ביתי ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ונופך הורים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בגאולות ומן המלך מלך ממית ומחייך ומצליח ישועה ונאמנך להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים נקדש את שם גמליו כשם שמקדישים אותו בשביל מרום ככתוב היה נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך הארץ כבודו אז בקור אשכנון אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מתנסים למצרפים לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך יאמר אדוני ממקומו
Hayır,
ציון, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד תשכון. תתקדש בתוך ירושלים, עירך לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נצח נצחים. מעינינו תראנה מלכותך, כאמר העבוד בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך, ימלוך לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גולך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקיש. בשמך אלוהינו יפינו ימוש לעולם מהר, כי המלך קדוש וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Finished your personal prayer. Hadith's name will be on page 138.
יתקרבי קדוש שמי רבה, בעלמא תברכרתי וימליך מלכותי בחיי כל בימי כל החיים בישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמירה בל מברך, לעולם ולעולם בעלמיה. יתברך וישתבח בפי ודרום, יתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי קדושה בריחו. לאלה מקום בגדה ושירתה, תושגתה ונגמתה, דברה בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל שלמת חונך ישראל, קדם עבוד וישמעיה, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמעיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרמה, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
139.
En kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'en kemasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechador v'ador Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Imlach, Le'olam Ma'ed, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yiten, Adonai Yifarech, Et Amo V'Shalom, Avarachamim, Heitiva Mirtzoncha, Et Zion, Timnei Chomot Yerushalayim, Timnei Chomot Yerushalayim, Kivecha levad batachnu, Melech Eram Benisa, Adon Olamim.
We'll rise now in the middle of page 139 to take the Torah out of the ark in just a moment.
Vayehi min Aharon, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai v'yafutu oivecha, v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, ulevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Ruler of the universe, praise be your name and your sovereignty. May your favor abide with your people Israel, and may your redeeming power be revealed in your sanctuary. Bless us with your light and with compassion accept our prayer. May it be your will to grant all of us long life and well-being, to count us among the righteous, and to guard us and our families and all peoples with compassion. You nourish and sustain all life. You rule over all, even those who call themselves rulers, for dominion is yours. We turn to the middle of 140, Be'anarachet.
Be'anarachet, V'lish mekanisha, kanisha yakira, Adonai Maltus mechan, Be'anarachet, Be'anarachet, V'lish mekanisha, kanisha yakira, Adonai Maltus mechan, Yehera b'kadamach, Detivtach libi b'horaita, V'tashlim mishalim delimim, V'nim alech olamach Yisrael, V'tamul chayim v'lishlach. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, Onelo mima Shemo Yahdav. Lecha Adonai hagdula ve'hagevura ve'hativet ve'hanetzach ve'haod ki kol hashamayim u'haaretz. Lecha Adonai הממלכה והמתעשה לכל עולם. כמו אדוני אלוהינו וזכרו לאדמה לקדושו. כמו אדוני אלוהינו ושלומו לקדושו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
You may be seated. Our reading today comes from the book of Deuteronomy. It's Parshat Ki-Teitzei, opening Kitzei L'Melchama, when you go out to war on page 1112. What's going on here? Moshe is reminding the people of Israel all of the things they need to know as they go into the land of Israel. Now, this Parsha, according to our tradition, there are 613 mitzvot. In this Parsha, there are 74 of them. So there are quite a lot of laws in this week's reading. Some of them, as Hayden and I have discussed, remain extremely relevant to this day. Others of them are not exactly the way we do things in 2021. The opening of that parsha, some of the things that in these first few ones, not how we do things today. Not how we've done things for a very, 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 very long time. But we continue to read them as a source of study, a source of understanding. Because even as some of the views of consent and gender and marriage and divorce and rape may feel a little bit dated to us today, for their time, they were incredibly progressive. Now, there were none of these laws in the surrounding cultures, and our tradition was saying, no, you can't treat people that way. So this is a big step forward, even as for us, at times, some of these things will seem not quite where we want to be. But I would remind you that even in this country, until just a few years ago, there were some laws about gender, well, we might argue even today, that were very much more pre-biblical than the Torah. So I ask you for a grain of salt there. Then we go into the next chapter, where you'll see, chapter 22, we see many things, as Hayden will remind us, that are vital to us today. And I think even pushing us right now to acknowledge things that are not in American law. For example, finders keepers is not in the Torah. That's not how it works. If you find it, there's any identifying information, you can't keep it. You gotta help and make sure that that is returned to those who need. There is so much in this week's parsha about property safety. If you have a house with a roof, this is not something I knew about before I lived in Florida, but if you have a house with a flat roof, our Torah teaches us that you need to put a fence around that to make sure that no one falls off. I don't think that's in the building code here. There's a reminder in the Torah, in this week's parsha, that if you have someone working for you and they're really, hand to mouth, you need to make sure that you pay them not once a week, not every 2 weeks, not 3 months later, but every day, to make sure that they're not starving while they're working for you. It's teaching us here the importance of respect for all people, whether they have all the resources in the world or whether they have nothing. That they all deserve respect. And that is something I think we still need to learn right here and right now. So this week's Parsha, I find incredibly powerful as we go through. 1, for the history, and 2, for where should we be and what are we not living up to. So we'll turn to page 1112 for the first Aliyah.
יוסף יוסיף חוסמים בו ונאמר אמן. הכל בגוי אלוהינו ונוחה לתורה יעמוד. אלון בני אליעזר. ליה הראשונה ברוך נתן תורה לאמור ישראל בקדשו. אתם צדיקים יענניכם חיים וכם היום.
Amen. Ki tetzei la milchama al oivecha unetano Adonai Elohecha biyadecha v'shavita shivyo v'rita v'shivya eshet yefat toar v'chashakta v'lekachta lecha leisha v'habeta el toch beitecha v'gilcha et rosha v'astat ziporneha v'hisirat simlat shivya me'aleha v'yashva b'beitecha uvachta et aviha v'rima yerach yamim v'achar kein tavo eleha uve'alta v'ayta lecha leisha V'hayim lo chafatzta ba v'shilachta lenafsha umachor lo timkarena b'kasef lo titamer ba tachad asher inita b'tiena leish shtei nashim hachad ha'ahuva v'achad snua v'yaldu lo vanim ha'ahuva v'hasnua V'haya ben habechor lasniya V'haya bayom hanchilot panav Eid asher yed lo yuchal Levaker et ben ha'ahuva Al penei ben hasnua habechor Ki et bechor ben hasnua yakir La tet lo pishnaim v'chol hashim etzei lo ki hu reishit ono lo mishpat hapara ki ele ish bein sorer umoreh einenu shomea b'kol aviv u'b'kol imo v'yisru oto lo yishma lehem V'tafsu vo aviv imo, v'hotziu oto, el zignei iro, el sha'ar mekomo, v'amru el zignei iro, b'neinu zeh sorer umoreh, einenu shomea b'kolenu, zolel v'sovei, orgamu kol anshei iro, v'avanim v'ameid, Uverta hara mikirbecha v'chol Yisrael yishmu v'yira'u.
Amen.
We pause for a blessing for all those who are ill in our community. If you have a name to add, someone you're thinking of who needs a little extra blessing right now, please rise. Yishabeirach, Kavatana Mitaki Yakov, Sarah Ritaracha, Valeha, Yivarek, Reparticholim, Matana Batsara, Adri Kapuman, Avnishasha, Malazebenois, Kavra Manisha Yakava, Edel Bela Batkana, Vela benodaka bechandel, ben Bible Reisel, Bel Levin, Blumai Edna, Benabat the Barachim, Bel Muslim, Tema Hasasara, Ladruf Kabela, Hayat, Bela Shana, Hasha, Freda, but Kaim Shashana, Weinstein, Devin Rubin, Dan Thor Deinbaum, Donald Beller, and Miller, Eliezer Ben Takun, Eli Melech Ben Chaika, Alkalea Batyafa, Esther Paloma, Evatsarat Kava, Hanan Halevi, Beryl Nachama Baramaka, Godavika Baral Senda, Gordon Kingston, Grace Triana, Gotabatjako, Gwen Lurie, Hannah Batavora, Hannah Baliba Franco, Hannah Beshta, Hannah Michaela Batjochaven, Hannah Batsvira, Versha Moshe, Itzak Ben Maya, Holtzman John, Yarai, Chidi Buns, Carl Springer, Ken Flair, Liba and Yoko, Liba Zebdov, the Chana, the Hamburg Lane, Claire Liz, and Remaka Batsvi, Mark Hart, and Aaron Goldberg, Marianne May, Manas Ben Yosef, Mordecai Kimball, Ben Lazar David, Moshe Ben Benjamin, Nathan Ben Rasman, Nessa Manya Badleka, Nessa Yishami, Pamad Rachel Bat Rivka, Rachel Bat Zara, what a pain, Rivka Bachai Machaya, Rivka Rachel, Rivka Bat Rasha, Robert Sam, Pinchas Ben Shrega, Sarah Rivka Bat Golda, Sarah Yocheb Bat Rivka, Sharon Kernick, Shadav Ben Yitzhak Baruch, Shadav Chaya Bat Ladina, Shalom Beryl Ben Yudleah, Stephanie Greenwell, Friedman Yaakov, Nachum Ben Pesach, Yehuda Bet Shaika, Yehuda Bat Avram, Yosef Leva, Halevi Bat Masha, Ivan Eilat, Zev Ben Shlomo Ve'at. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimel Rachamim Aleichem Lazikam Ufatam Yishlach Lehem Rafu Shemei Shemayim Rafu Nefesh V'Teguf V'Tov Shecholim V'Yazek Etzem B'Tzarchechem Shabbatim Azokrabo Hashtabaz Mankari Ben Omar Amen. May the Holy One restore them to health and vigor and giving them health of body and health of spirits. And let us say Amen. The second Aliyah is on page 1114, chapter 21 of the book of Deuteronomy, verse 22. And here we see something that remains to this day. In the Jewish tradition, we try to bury somebody after they pass as quickly as possible. And this is seen as a sign of respect, and this is even if someone is a criminal. This respect to the dead is not dependent on if you're even a good person or not. If anyone remembers their Caribbean history or the history of pirates, what did the British do when there was a pirate? They put their head on a stake outside of the port so that anyone coming in would see, oh, that's what we do to pirates. The Jewish tradition says, no, we don't do that. Even somebody who's a jerk, even someone who's violating the laws, they still, even in death, get that modicum of respect to be buried properly in hopefully a speedy way. So the second Aliyah, page 1114.
Amen.
Amen. Mechiev aish chet mishpat mavet v'humat v'talita oto al eitz lo talin nivlato al ha'etz ki kavor tikbarenu bayom hahu ki kilalat Elohim talui v'lo tetamed ad matcha asher Adonai Elohecha Tein lecha nachala lo tireh shorachicha o et save nidachim v'hitalamta mehem hashev teshivem leachicha v'im lo karov achicha ilacha v'lo yidato v'safto al toch beitecha v'haya imcha ad derosh achicha oto Hashivoto lo v'chein tasel chamoro v'chein tasel simlato v'chein tasel chol avedat achicha asher tovad mimanu umsata lo tuchal lehitalem lo tiret chamor achicha Alecha, O Shoro Noflim Aderech, V'hitalamta Mehem Hakim Takim Inmo. Lo Yech Li Gever Alisha, V'lilbash Gever Simlat Isha, Ki Tovat Adonai Elohecha Kol Osa Ele. Ki karei kan zipor lefanecha baderech bechol eitz o al haaretz efrachim o veitzim v'ha'im rovetzet al ha'efrachim o al ha'beitzim lo tikach ha'im al ha'banim shaleach tishalach et ha'am shaleach tishalach et ha'im V'rabanim tikach lach, l'ma'an yitav lach, v'arachta yamim.
And the third aliyah is page 1117. We're still in Parshat Kitetse, chapter 22, verse 8. And one thing I just want to mention here is the verse 10, which is you should not plow with an ox and a donkey together. So if I have a field and I'm plowing, I'm a farmer, if I take a big, strong animal and a not quite as strong animal and they're pulling the plow together, what's going to happen? It's going to, it's going to drag one way or the other, but that weaker animal is going to be tormented because it's being forced to do a job that it's not capable of doing. And it's also damaging to the larger animal because the larger animal is not able to balance and pace. And so even in productive work that is to give us our income and to give us our sustenance and our livelihood, we're not supposed to do it in a way that causes pain and suffering to animals. And if that's true for animals, all the more so, you might think for people as well. So we call upon our last, not quite last, Milo's over there. All right, we'll get you in. We call upon for our next aliyah.
Baruch Amen.
Amen. Ki tivne bait chadash, vasita makel leganecha, legagecha. Thank you. Lo tasim damim bivatecha, ki pol hanofel mimenu. Lo tizra karmecha kilaim. Pentikdash, Hamleah, Hazera, Sher Tizra, Utwad Hakarem, Lotacharosh Bashor, Vachamor, Yachdav, Lo Tilba Shatnez, Semer Ufishtim Yachdav, Gidilim Tasalecha, Alarba, Kanfot Kesutcha, Asher Techaseba. Ki kach ish isha uvaileha usneya v'samla alilot devarim v'hotzi aleha shera v'amar et isha zat lakachti v'krav aleha l'matati la v'tulim v'lakach avi hanara v'ima v'hotziu et betulei hanara al ziknei ha'ir hashara ve'amar avi hanara el hazkenim et biti natati lishazeh lisha vayisnaeha v'hinehu sam alilat devarim lemor lo matzati levidcha betulim Ve'ela betule biti. Ufarsu hasim la lifnei ziknei ha'ir. V'lachu ziknei ha'ir ha'i et ha'ish ve'yisru oto. Vanshu oto me'achesem. V'natnu la'avi hanara. Ki hotzi shem ra al betulat Yisrael. Lo ti'eh li'isha. Lo yuchal l'shalcha kol yamav. V'mamed haya hadavar hazeh. Lo nimseu betulim lenara. V'hotziu et hanara el petach beit aviha. Uskaluha anshe ira bavanim v'meta. Ki asta nevala b'Yisrael liznot beit aviha. Uviarta hara mikirbecha. Ki matzei ish shochev misha bulad val. Umetu gam shnehem ha'ish. Hashochev im ha'isha v'ha'isha. Uviarta hara me'Yisrael. Ki ne'ara betula me'ora sala'ish. Umitza'ish ba'ir v'shachav ima. V'hotzetem et shnehem el shar ha'ir hahi. Uskaltem otam bavanim b'meitu et hanara al davar asher lo tzaka ba'ir v'et ha'ish al davar asher ina et eshet re'ehu. Uviarta hara mikirbecha. V'im basadeh yimsa ha'ish. Et hanara hamro rasa. V'hechazik ba ha'ish v'shachav ima. Umeid ha'ish. Asher shachav ima levado. V'lenara lo tased davar. Ein lenara chet mavet. Ki kasher yakum ish al re'ehu urtzacho nefesh kein hadavar hazeh. Ki vasadeh mitza'at tzaka hanara ha'me'orasa v'yein moshi Allah. Ki yimsa ish nara betula sher lo orasa utfasa v'shachav ima. V'nimsa'u v'natan ha'ish hashochev ima lavi hanara chameshim kasef lo tiyeh le'isha tachat asherina lo yushcha al shilcha kol yamav lo yikach ish et eshet aviv v'lo yigalei kenaf aviv. Lo yavo v'tzua daka uchru shofcha bikal Adonai. Lo yavo mamzer bikal Adonai gam dor asiri. Lo yavo lo bikal Adonai. Lo yavo amoni umovi bikal Adonai gam dor asiri. Lo yavo lahem. Bikal Adonai ad olam, al devar asher lo kidmu etchem balechem uvamayim bederech betzeitchem mimitzrayim lasher sachar alecha et bilam ben beor miptor aram naharaim lekal eleka. Lava Adonai Elohecha lishmoa el bilam vayafoch Adonai Elohecha lecha et haklala livracha ki ahivcha Adonai Elohecha lo tidrosh lomotam betovotam kol yamecha leolam.
Amen.
The fourth Aliyah is on page 1123. We're reminded that even those who had caused harm to our community, remember slavery in Egypt, we have to remember that we were slaves in the land, but they at times fed us. And so we are not supposed to hold this grudge for forever. We are commanded to be, to guard ourselves against impurity and to treat one another with respect, not to take advantage of others, and to be truthful in our actions. So page 1123, the fourth Aliyah.
Tamon bilach bat Reuben b'Sara le'ah hari'it. Baruch Ramalach HaMoed. Amen.
Amen. Lo tita'ev aromi, ki achicha hu, lo tita'ev mitri, ki ger hayita be'artzo. Banim, asher yivaldu lahem dor shlishi, yavo lachem bikal Adonai. Ki tetzei machane al aivecha, venishmarta mikol davara. Ki yevecha ish asher lo yeh tahor mikrei laila, v'yatzal michutz lamachane, yavo el toch hamachane. V'haya lifnot erev yirchatz b'mayim, uchvo hashemesh, yavo el toch hamachane. V'yati elecha michutz lamachane, V'yatzata sham achutz, v'yateid tiyeh lechal azinecha, v'haya b'shiftecha chutz, v'chafartava, v'shavta v'chisita tzeyatecha. Ki Adonai Elohecha mithalech b'kerev machanecha, l'hatzilcha, lateid oivecha lefanecha, V'haya machanecha kadosh, v'lo yira'eh becha ervat davar, v'shav me'acharecha. Lo taskir eved al Adonav, asher yinatzei elecha me'im Adonav. Imcha yesheh b'kirbecha, b'makom asher yivchar, v'chad sharacha b'tovlo, Lo tonanu, lo tiyeh kadesha mibnot Yisrael, v'lo yeh kadesh mibnei Yisrael, v'lo tavi anzona umchir kelev, beit Adonai Elohecha lechol neder ki tovat Adonai Elohechem gam shnehem, Adonai Elohecha gam shnehem. Shnehem. Lo tashich liachicha neshech kesef neshech ochel neshech kol davar asher yishach lenachri tashich ulachicha lo tashich leman yivrachecha Adonai Elohecha bechol mishlach yadecha al haaretz asher tava shama l'rishta. Ki tidor neder l'Adonai Elohecha lo acher l'shalmo. Ki darosh yidrishanu Adonai Elohecha meimach v'haya bechached. V'chi techdal lindor lo yeh bechached. Motza sfatecha tishmor v'asita kasher nadarta l'Adonai Elohecha nedava. Asher dibarta beficha.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Ki tavo b'cherem re'echa, v'achalta anavim kenafshecha, v'achalta anavim kenafshecha sadacha, v'kal yecha lo titein. Ki tavo b'kamad re'echa, v'katavta melilot b'yadecha, v'chermesh lo tamnif al kamat re'echa. Ki kach ish isha uv'ala v'hayim lo timsachen b'einav ki matzavar v'atavar v'chatav la sefer kritut natan b'yada v'shilcha mibeito v'yatza mibeito v'chalcha v'hayta la'ish acher Usneya ha'ish acharon v'chatav la sefer chritut natan biyada v'shilcha mibeito O ki amud ha'ish ha'acharon asher lekacha lo le'isha lo yuchal ba'ala harishon asher shilcha lashuv lekachta liat lo leisha acharei asher hutama'a ki torivahi lifnei Adonai velo tachati et haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha nachala.
Ta'amod et Shoshana bat Reuven v'Sarah le'ayah hashishit. 6th Aliyah is found on page 1128, chapter 24, verse 5. Baruch Amen.
Amen. Ki kach ish isha chadasha lo yetzei batzava v'lo yavor alav l'chol davar naki yeh lebeito shana echad v'simach ad ishto asher lakach lo yachavo rechaim barachev ki nefeshu chovel Ki matzeish gonev nefesh me'acha b'bnei Yisrael v'hit amer bo umcharo umed haganav hahu uviarta hara mikirbecha Hisha amer b'nega hatzarat lishmor me'od v'la'asot kechol asher yaru atchem hakohanim havim Asher tzivitim tishmeru lasot Zachor asher asad no Elohecha leMiriam V'derech b'tzeidchem miMitzrayim Ki tashev re'acha mashat me'uma Lo tavo el beito lavot avoto Bachutz ta'amod v'ha'ish asher ata noshevo Yotzi elecha et havod hachutza Bimish anihu lo tishkav ba'avoto Hashev tashiv lo et ha'avod kevo hashemesh V'shachav b'salmato v'rachaka Ulecha tiyeh tzedakah lifnei Adonai Elohecha.
The seventh Aliyah is on page 1130. Again, these reminders of caring for those who are less fortunate. And I just want to, today is a day of blessing. Today we are coming to celebrate Hayden, and we have our family here with us and friends from family from all over the world, and it's really a blessing. At the same time, it's been a challenge to get here. We had so many different plans over the last couple of years of exactly what this was going to look like, and things have changed very rapidly. When we were talking months ago, we said, okay, well maybe 10 people can come, then maybe 30 people can come, then okay, everybody can come. But here's, they can wear masks. No, they don't have to wear masks. No, they have to wear masks again. If you were here last week, we didn't have the seats blocked off. But the world keeps changing. We hope to have everybody on the Bnai. We had that for 3 whole weeks. Normally we'd pass the Torah from the grandparents to the parents to Hayden. We're not doing that, I'm sorry. Know that the Torah is being passed from generation to generation. When you see her here, and you see her have an aliyah, and when you see her share the words of the prophet Isaiah, the Torah is being passed, even if it's not exactly the way we love to do things. We had for a couple brief moments, we thought we'd all be able to sit down and have lunch together. Then we thought, oh, well, maybe we can have like a lunch outside. And then we said, nope, can't do that at all. So it's been a journey. But the thing that I've reminded everyone, the thing that I see so powerful about the Jewish tradition is the fact that you cannot be a Jew alone. To be a Jew is to be in community. And so here we are in community. Is it exactly the way we hope to be? Not quite. But no matter what, we're here together. Those who can be with us are with us to get the blessing. So we call upon Ali for the 7th Aliyah.
Tamod, Tanya Batavi Venera, Laya Hashvi. Amen.
Amen. Lo tasok sachir ani v'avyon me'achecha o migercha asher bersecha bisharecha yamot yitain secharo v'lo tavo alav hashemesh ki ani hu ve'lav hu nosei et nafsho lo yikra alecha el Adonai haya becha chet. Lo yimtu avod al banim, uvanim lo yimtu al avod, ish becheto yumatu. Lo tata mishpat ger yatom, velo tachavol beged almana. V'zacharta ki eved hayita b'mitzrayim, v'iftecha Adonai Elohecha misham. Aken anochi mitzavcha lasod et hadavar hazeh ki tiksor kitzircha v'sadecha v'shachachta omer basadeh lo tashuv lekachto lager layatom v'lalmana yiyeh l'ma'an yivrachecha Adonai Elohecha b'chol maseh yadecha Ki tachbot zeitcha lo tifaer acharecha lager latom v'lalmana yiyeh ki tivtzor karmecha lo teolel acharecha lager latom v'lalmana yiyeh v'zacharta ki eved hayita be'eretz Mitzrayim al ken Anochi mitzavcha lasod et hadavar hazeh ki yariv bein anashim v'nishu el hamishpat ushfatum v'hitzdiku et hatzadik v'hirshiu et harasha v'haya im bin hakod harasha v'hipilo hashofet v'hikal lefanav kedei rishato b'mispar Arba'im yakenu lo Yosef, And Yosef lahakoto alela makaraba nikla achacha ichicha le'enecha tachsom shor bedisho kishuachim yachdav umeit echad mehem uvein ein lo tiyeh shel hameit hachutza le'ishar yivama yavo alaha ukachalo le'isha ve'ibma v'haya habachor asher teled yakum al shem achiv hameit v'lo yimacheh shemo miYisrael v'im lo yachpotz ha'ish lekachat et yivimto ve'alta yivimto hashara el hazkenim v'amra mem yivami lakim lachiv shem lakim leachiv shem beYisrael lo ava yabmi v'kar lo zignei ro v'dibru elav v'amad v'amar lo chafatzi lekachta Bnei Shayavim Toelav, Lene Hazkenim, Bechalza Na'alo Me'al Raglo, V'yarka Befanav, V'anta V'amra, Kacha Yasa Le'ish, Asher Lo Yivna Et Beit Achiv, V'nikra Shemo BeYisrael, Beit Chalut Hana'al, Ki natsu anashim yachdav ish v'achiv v'karba ish hachad lehatzil et isha miyad makehu v'shalcha yada v'hechazika bim psushav v'katzota et kapa lo tachos enecha Lo yiyalecha bechizcha even va'aven gedola uktana. Lo yiyalecha beveitcha efa va'efa gedola uktana. Even shlema batzadek yiyalach efa shlema batzadek yiyalach. Lema'an yarichu yamecha al ha'adama shadnoi Elohecha no telach ki tovat Adonai Elohecha kolose avel zachor et asher sa'alecha Amalek bederech b'tzeitchem miMitzrayim Asher karcha baderech vayzanev becha kol hanefesh alim acharecha v'ata ayef yagea lo yarei Elohim v'haya v'aniach Adonai Elohecha lecha mikol oivecha misaviv ba'aretz asher Adonai Elohecha Noten lecha nachala l'rishta timcha zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim lo tishkach.
Stand up together. Mi sheberach avatana v'tzakvekov saret parachal v'leha yivarech eleha v'netanya bata v'veneha v'et through horei habachorach habat mitzvah kashem zku legadel et bitav ad hayam hazeh ki yizku lechamshich v'chadrich et bitam lechiyot bat nemana le'am Yisrael HaKadosh Baruch Hu yazechu v'yansem avrachem v'chesed u'shalom v'nomar amen. May the God who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Drew and Ali, parents of Hayden, who becomes Bat Mitzvah today. They thank you for the strength you've granted them to raise their child so that she could reach this time. Guide them to recognize their child's new responsibilities among the Jewish people. Bless them with joy and fulfillment on this and every day. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
We'll rise together.
Nishberach, whatever it's ever comes here, cover of Lever, Kol Hakarim, Asher Alu, Hayam Lichvara Makam, Torah, Belchot Shabbat, Viskazah, Rishbrachi, Brachotam, Vishchotam, Vishap Chavat Sachab, Choma Sayde Hamim, for Yisrael, Achayam, and Omar, Amen. Yigadal, Vikadash, Merabah, Yama Divrachirute, Bimlich, Malchute, Bechaye, Chonubyo, Mechon, Uchay, Dechol, Beit Yisrael. Bagala, Bagala, Ubizman Karib, Vimeru, Yeshmei Rabba Mevorach, Leolam Lo Memaya, Yidbarach, Vishtabach, Vikavi Tramami, Naseh, Vidhadar, Vidalev, Vidhalal, Shmei Dekucha, Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, dush bechata v'nechamata, damiran v'alma, v'meru, amen.
You may be seated.
Talmud, 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 Abegona bat hamitzvah, Chana bat Netanya, Maftira Chizki.
Amen. Zachor, Eid, Asher Salacha, Malek, B'derech, B'tzechem, Mimitrayim, Asher Korcha, B'derech, V'ayzanev, B'cha, Kol HaNechesh Alim, Acharecha, V'tayef, Yagea, V'lo Yarei, Elohim, V'haya, B'niach, Anu Elohecha, Lecha, Kol oivecha misaviv ba'aretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha nachala l'rishta timcha et zechra malek mitachat hashamayim lo tishkach.
Amen.
Mishaberach, Abbot and Abitzak Yaakov, Zarif Karachal, Veleha, Yevarech, Et Chana Bat Netanya, Sheagia LaMitzvot, Ve'atzah Likvod HaMakom Likvod HaTorah Likvod HaShabbat, HaKadot, Baruch Hu Yishmerecha V'chayecha, V'konen et liba lecho shlema im Adonai Elohecha, Lagot B'torato Lalechet V'racha, V'lishmor mitzvotav V'yishlach Bracha V'chatzacha V'chol Masei Yadea, Yizkurecha, Legala LaTorah L'chupa Masim Tovim, ותמצא חן ושכל טוב בעיני אלוהים ואדם ונאמר אמן. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Chana bat Netanya, who has come for an aliyah upon reaching the age of mitzvot, with reverence for God and Torah and Shabbat. May the Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, protect and sustain her, helping them to be wholehearted in their faith, to study Torah, to fulfill mitzvot, and to walk in God's ways. May her parents rear her to maturity, guiding her to the blessings of Torah, to a life of partnership, of ma'asim tovim, of good deeds. May she find favor before God and community, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'simen tov, simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'simen tov, simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'simen tov. Yehelanu, 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 u'b'kol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, u'b'kol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, u'b'kol Yisrael. Haftarah that Hayden will be reading for us today. You may be seated. Now, most of the year, the Haftarah, the reading from the prophets, is thematically related to the reading from the Torah. But certain times of the year we break that connection, and this is one of those times, because we are in the middle of what are called the Haftarot of consolation, the Haftarot that are to lift us up and give us hope. Those followed. Earlier over the summer, we had 3 Haftarot of admonition saying, you haven't been doing what you're supposed to. And those 3 Haftarot led to Tisha B'Av, the darkest and saddest day on the Jewish calendar. And then we have 7 weeks of Haftarahs that lift us up to say, look, we can do it. We can make positive change in our lives. We are not static and flat human beings, but we are dynamic, who have the ability to make good choices and to make better choices in our lives, leading us up to, in just a few weeks, Rosh Hashanah. And so this 5th of the Haftarah of consolation comes from Isaiah, as most of them do, chapter 54, verses 1 through 10, and Hayden will read that for us now. There.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah v'divreihem ha'nemarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Amen. Rani akra lo yalada pizchi rina v'tachali lo chala ki rabim b'nei shomimah mibnei ve'ula amar Adonai Arhivi mekom achalech V'riyot mishkanotayech Yatu ol tachsochi Harihi metarayech V'tedotayech hatzeki Ki yamin usmol tifroti V'zar'e goyim yirash Ve'arim nishamot yoshivu Al tir'i kilo tevoshi Ve'oti komi kilo takpiri Kivo she'olimayech tishkahi Ve'herpat omenutayech lo tizkari od Kivo alayech osayech Adonai tzavaot shemo Goalech kadosh Yisrael Elohei kol ha'aretz yikareh Ki ha'isha azuva V'atzud vat ruach kra'ach Adonai Ve'esh et nerim Ki tima'es amar Elohayech Berega katon azavtich Uvrachamim gidolim akabitseich B'shetzeh kesef Histartif v'nai rega mimeif Uvhesed olam richamtif Amar goalech Adonai Ki me noach zo li Asher nishbati Me'avor me Noah Od al ha'aretz Ke nishbati Viktof alayech umi garbach Ki hacharim yamushu V'hagvaot timutena V'chasti mitach lo yamush Uvrich lo mi lo tamu Amar merachamech Adonai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Tzor kol haolamim Tzadik b'chol hadarot Ha'el ha'ne'eman Ha'omer v'oseh Ha'mdaber u'mkayem Shechol devarav emet v'tzedek Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim devarecha v'davar echad midvarecha achor lo yashuv rekem ke'el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el ha'ne'eman b'chol devarav. Rachem al Tzion ki hi beit hayenu v'la aluvat nefesh toshia bimhera v'yameinu baruch ata Adonai misameach Tzion bivanecha. Tzamcheinu Adonai Eloheinu be'eliyachu chana v'yadecha uv'malchut beit David mishichecha bimhera Yavo v'yagel lebeinu, o kisalo yashav zar v'lo yinchalu, od acharim et kavodo, ki v'shem kod shilcha nishbatalo, shalo yichbech naro l'olam va'ed, baruch ata Adonai, Magen David, al ha-Torah, v'al ha-Avodah, v'al hanvi'im, v'al yom ha'ashabah hazeh, Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'kdushach v'lemnuchach l'chavod ol tifaret. Achakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach uvarchim otach yet parashimcha b'fi kol chai tami l'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
All of us were sharing the Haftarah with us, and now she'll share a few words with us.
Hello, everyone. Good Shabbos. Thank you for attending today's service. Our current parsha is Kitetse, which means when you go. From reading it, I've gathered that the most prominent theme is respect in relationships. Some of these laws that are in it specifically caught my eye because of how well they translate to today's society, which can be rare. Not every law feels relevant in today's environment, though, which isn't unexpected since it was written centuries ago. You find things such as men and women must wear clothes appropriate to their gender, whereas in the 21st century, our understanding of clothing has changed. We see people all the time wearing what they want to, expressing themselves in whatever clothes they desire, which is a matter of respect and inclusivity. Like how I'm wearing a suit to my bat mitzvah. Then you have things such as return all lost property and defiant sons are to be disciplined, which both are needed and used in the modern day. They also go hand in hand. You teach kids from a young age that if you find something that isn't yours, you return it. It also shows that Torah isn't black and white when it comes to relating to the present. It can relate to the present literally or metaphorically. And what I like about this parsha is that it can be read in all of these ways. The Torah isn't only a document from the past, but a living text we continue to interpret to help us grow further. I feel I can relate to Kitetse in some ways as I'm becoming bat mitzvah in the midst of a global pandemic. This process has given me more respect for my teachers, more respect for my parents, and even some more respect for myself. Overall, this experience has been exciting and very nerve-wracking, as well as lengthy. The COVID-19 pandemic hit us right before my original bat mitzvah date last year, which caused us to postpone. I've had 2 haftorahs over the span of over a year, but I've learned from it. It's caused me to appreciate this day more because I've worked harder to get it. Being bat mitzvah means becoming a religious adult, daughter of the commandment. This is the 1-year late mark of my transition into adulthood. I will start to be held more accountable for what I do, and again, relating to this parsha, I will give others the respect they give me. Speaking of respect, I wanted to thank the rabbi as well as Maureen. They both taught me so much and guided me through the celebration and this milestone. So I want to thank my parents for keeping me grounded and giving me their love and support. They and the rest of my family and friends have made everything easier this past year, and their example is one I hope to follow. I'm glad to be here today, and thank you all for coming.
So I'll invite your parents to come with you and share a blessing for you as well. You can stay with them.
Okay.
Our amazing Hayden, we've watched you grow from a bat-wielding, ball-throwing princess in pink into an incredible artist, accomplished student, and fiercely loyal, quick-witted, kind-hearted, extraordinary young person. As Pop always says, tough times show you what you're made of. During COVID lockdown, scary and difficult as it was, you handled it with poise and determination, managing to keep your grades up during virtual school while maintaining a strong support system with your friends and expressing your frustration in healthy ways. You now know you're resilient. You are already more than we could have ever hoped for, and kid, you are just getting started. Mazel tov on this well-earned accomplishment. We could not be more proud of you. And I'd like to say that last year, in February, we sent out the Save the Dates for Hayden's bat mitzvah. In June, we sent out the Unsave the Dates. And Drew and I then gave Hayden the choice. She could continue learning her current Haftorah and have her bat mitzvah as planned over Zoom with no extended family and friends celebration, or postpone it an entire year, learn a completely new Haftorah, pray for a vaccine, and if we're fortunate enough, celebrate with those we love. Hayden made the very difficult and mature decision to move her bat mitzvah to the following year, and I would say, as evidenced by the blessing of your presence here today, she made the right move. Thank you to our family and friends who have traveled to share in this day with us from all over Florida, Maryland, Texas, California, Tennessee, North Carolina, New York, Oregon, Nebraska, and Israel. Thank you very much for being here with us today.
Be a celebration without presents. I'm just going to demonstrate that they are here. She'll actually get them later on, but they are here. So.
Hi, Hayden. I am Billy Bornstein, president of CBI Sisterhood. It is my pleasure to be here today as you become a bat mitzvah. This has been quite a big month for you as you just started high school a couple of weeks ago as a visual artist in the PCCA program. I look forward to some of your future works being displayed maybe here at CBI. On behalf of our CBI Sisterhood, I am presenting you with this gift of candlesticks, which we hope you will use on Shabbat and holidays now and into the future when you welcome Shabbat in your own home. Mazel tov to you, Hayden, and to your family.
Hayden, I'm Maury Bornstein. I am honored today as a member of the Men's Club to carry on a tradition for our bat mitzvah celebrants of presenting a poem. The poem was written by Alan Gross, stalwart of the Men's Club, who was something of the poet laureate. And he could not be here today to deliver the poem in person, and I'm honored to do it for him. Hayden, today you're surrounded by your family and friends from throughout the country and overseas in Eretz Yisrael. To all of your guests from out of town, we say welcome and shalom. Today we'll continue our Mitzvah Men's Club tradition by saying congratulations with a poem. Hayden recently graduated from the Thurgood Marshall Middle School. She was an honor roll student in the gifted program for kids who are really smart. On August 11, 2021, she began high school at Gibbs PCCA, and she has special talents in drawing and graphic and visual arts. Hayden loves to ice skate and play video games. These activities bring her lots of joy. And tonight we'll celebrate your party-themed organized chaos at the downtown hotel called the Bnai. Hayden may be an only child, but she's certainly never alone. For she has a little pixie bobcat named Buckley that's always with her at home. I now present you with this gift that comes from the men's club with our love on the occasion of your bat mitzvah. We wish you and the entire Gordon family a heartfelt mazel tov. We present you with a tanakh. It comes with a warranty that's double. First, follow all of God's mitzvot, and you'll never get in trouble. Second, read it and study it, but never ever should you deface it. But if you should ever wear it out, the men's club will gladly replace it. Today you're considered a Jewish adult. I'm sure that's something you already knew. Just remember how proud you made your entire family today, especially your loving parents, Allie and Drew. Mazel tov from the Mitzvah Men's Club.
Now let's do this.
Thank you.
Although we're actually going to rise on page 148 with a blessing for our community.
יקום פורקן מן שמיה הקדוש ברוך הוא ישלם שכרם ויסיר מהם כל מחלה וירפא לכל גופם ויסלח לכל עוונם וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם עם כל ישראל אחיהם ונאמר אמן.
148, I invite you at the bottom of the page to join with me for prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights for your Torah, that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony, to banish hatred and bigotry, and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions of the pride and glory of our country. May this land under your providence be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore, and let us say, Amen. A prayer for Israel on page 149. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael Begolo, Barak et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Tzmicha et Gvulatenu. Again Alecha Befrat Hazdecha, Ufros Alecha Shukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'mitkal Rashecha, Sarecha V'atzecha, V'teknam Betzat Tova Milchanecha. Hazek et Yedei B'nei Eretz Kadshenu, V'nilem Eloheinu Yeshua, V'yateret Netzachon Teatrem, V'natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'simchat Olam Noshva, V'nomar. Amen.
Amen.
And I think in this week, we especially need a prayer for peace around the world, so please join with me. May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world.
The nation will not threaten nation, and mankind will not again know war.
For all who live on earth shall realize we have not come into being to hate or destroy, we have come into being to praise, to labor, and to love.
Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with the power of compassion.
Fulfill the promise conveyed in Scripture, I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you.
I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and it shall not be ravaged by war.
Let love and justice flow like a mighty stream. Let peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated for a moment on page 151.
אשרי ביתך, דהללוך סלע. תהילת אדוני ידבר, פיו יברך ובשר שכתו לעולם בעת, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, hallelujah.
And we'll return the Torah to the ark, so we'll rise once again and we'll open the ark on page 153.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו. על הארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לאבו. תהילה לך חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרבו. הללויה, הללויה. מזמור לדוד, רבו לנו בניינים, רבו לנו כבוד ועוז. ובנך יאמר שמע אדוני אלוהיך בישראל. כי לך טוב נתתי לכם תורתי, אל תעזבו את צבאי דמך מחזיקים בה, ותוכחה מאושר דרכיה, דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם.
May be seated. And I will say every single time that I open the ark, when I try to close it, I pull the wrong one. So you're the first person that's ever gotten it right on the first try. So in our reading from the Torah this morning, we had the rules of war, discussions of intimate partner violence, laws of divorce, the importance of truthfulness and following through with commitments. So basically your average day of high school. It speaks of honesty in business, of protecting the stranger, protecting the orphan and the widow. It demands that we assist those who are less fortunate than us, that we pay our workers on time, that we remember that we were slaves in Egypt. We're taught how to care for others amidst challenging circumstances. And as I said earlier, there are 74 separate commandments in this week's Parsha, some of which are obligatory to us, and some of them are limited to very specific cases. And in talking with Hayden about the diverse traditions of this Parsha, I want to highlight something that she mentioned. She spoke of the relevance of the Ben Sorer Umoreh, the wayward and defiant, the rebellious child. And I have to say, that's the first time that anyone has spoken of that as a relevant command. Because in all of our tradition, this is the classic example of something that's legislated out of existence. In the Mishnah, they created category after category after category to ensure that no rebellious son would ever actually fall into the category of the rebellious son and need to be punished. The parents needed not only to agree with one another, but to be about the same height, about the same body type, and they also had to have some physical resemblance, meaning they had to speak with the same voice, both literally and physically, spiritually. The child had to embarrass their parents in public and secret. They had to be a glutton and a drunk. The rebellious child could not be a woman. It had to be a man, but a man at a very specific point, a boy. He had to be a boy just at the edge of puberty. A few months later, could no longer be a rebellious son. A few months earlier, it didn't apply either. In the Talmud, there's even a conversation about the Ben Sorero Moreh, and the rabbis say it never happened. They go back and forth until one guy says, actually, I sat on somebody's grave once. There really was one. But one in our entire history that actually fit into the category of a truly rebellious and wayward son. And yet, Hayden made me think about it in a whole new way. Because the thing is, at some point in all of our lives, we probably were that wayward and defiant child. Not our whole lives, just for a moment. And for a moment, we may have caused tremendous stress upon our parents. And now, my children are not yet teenagers, so they've caused stress in other ways. I'm sure when they get to that age, they'll cause me some more stress. I know Hayden has never done that to her parents. But the truth is, we all have within us the ability to cause angst and agita in those that we love. Teenagers are developing their identities. And what the real challenge in this parsha that the parents are saying is not just get rid of this child who we just can't handle anymore, is we can't do this alone. We need the help of the community. And that is something that was just as true then as it is today. And I really am grateful for Hayden for helping me look at this from the perspective of a teenager and saying, hey, wait a second, the reaction and the relationships between parents and teenagers, and I think that's true both for grown-ups and their parents, is also a complicated situation. And so while the specific situation of this completely incorrigible child, the thing is, it really does take a village. We need one another to raise our children, to live lives of Torah and mitzvot and masim tovim, of following the commandments, being respectful, and doing good in this world. So the Talmud asks, why do we bring up a law that was never meant to be applied as it was written? And the answer given is that we can learn something from it. And one of the things that we see by looking at that particular seemingly irrelevant and yet very relevant law is that there is something to be gained from its study. And one of the blessings of being a rabbi and a teacher is seeing those things from different perspectives. Our students are truly incredible if we are willing to learn from them as they are willing to learn from us. And the thing is, here in our community, we're blessed to get to know the young people that are part of it. Maureen has been working with Hayden from the time she was a little girl. She's been thinking about Torah and working on her Aleph Bet. And in the time that I've been here, I've been privileged to study Torah with her and to sit with her and talk about what does this mean, not just the words on the page, but the words in our heart and our souls. And Hayden has prepared significantly for today. We've seen her grow into the artistic, intelligent, strong young person that is before us today. We know that for her, this is not the end of the journey, but the beginning. And she's recited the sacred words and practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and now accepting Torah as a dugma, an example of how to live her life. So we know that getting to today wasn't the easiest or most straightforward of process. Like the farmer who had to figure out that you can't max the ox with the donkey, this journey was filled with twists and turns. Hayden responded with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. And today we acknowledge that she takes responsibility for her Jewish life. And it's not just about her parents encouraging her to live a Jewish life, but her own recognition and desire to find meaning and hope through our shared faith. And I have to say, she's got the best boots of anybody I've ever seen. So Hayden, your Hebrew name Hannah means hope. I'm mixed up things a little bit. Your name is one that makes me think, I have a special affection with the name Hannah. My older daughter is Hannah. And it is a name that is rooted in the prophet Samuel. Hannah is Samuel's mother. Hannah is someone who so desired to serve God and to have a family that served God that she was willing to sacrifice everything in order to do it. Now, thank God you have not had to sacrifice everything to get to this day. But it has been a little more complicated, as we mentioned, than you imagined. You showed fortitude. You showed determination through challenging circumstances. And my favorite verse of the Psalms is that today is the day that God has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. And through all this, we have found rejoicing and gladness, spirit true. You showed determination. And I have to say, you should hold on to this spirit. Hold on to the desire and the endeavor and the ambition to use your Jewish values as you grow. I know that with Maureen and some of the other teenagers at USY, you've had a lot of programs online this year. And you've connected. And that those connections are ones that you'll continue as you get older. And God willing, we'll actually get to do things together in human form. I know that you will hold on to your artistic abilities and your thoughtfulness. You're going to school specifically to cultivate that creativity and that strength of will. That you should, when you get to college, find Hillel and find Israel experiences that will help you grow in your own identity. And I want you to know that all the people here and all the people out there are there to support you. Because as I've said a whole lot of times today, community is what makes this all work. And you have a community. We're here not just to celebrate today, but to go on this journey with you. Some of us have walked in the path that you may follow, and sometimes we'll need to follow you on that path. But we're ready to stand with you and take your hand from a distance and give you blessing on this journey, to help you embrace your heritage and keep asking good questions. So I pray that your life will be filled with blessing and simcha, and when the challenges that come in the future, as we know there will always be challenges, you'll continue to find the opportunities within. So I say from the book of Numbers, Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, may God deal kindly and graciously with you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'asem lecha shalom, may God bestow God's favor upon you and grant you peace. V'shamo et shemei al b'nei Israel v'ani avarchem, and this blessing links you to the people of Israel and to the name of God, and we will find blessing in it. Shalom. Mazel tov. So as I said, we have a couple times of prayer in our service. You might think the whole thing is prayer. The whole thing is prayer. But we have certain time where we are trying to reach a personal and a communal prayer. We pray alone together. And there's something very powerful about that. So we're going to rise again on page 155. And we'll say the Kaddish. And then we will take time again. We'll go to 156b and 157 together, and then continue silently with the words in our heart. If you are looking for an entirely English meditation, you may find that on page 162.
Yitkadash, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, בעלמני וקירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי כל וימי כל ובחיים בישראל בגלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן יהי שמרה במברך לעלם עולם ימיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרום וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמר קודשה בריחו לעילא בגבורתה ושירתה תושבעתה ונקמתה דמירה בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
Amitabh begins on 156 beat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Eloteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachem Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGimor VeHanora El Elyon Gomer חסרים טובים וקונה הטוב וזוכר חסדי אבות ומבין גורלים לבניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר פוקד מושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיים מתים אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי המתים. נריצך ונפשך, נריצך ונפשך, כסוציח שר וקודש, כסוציח שר וקודש, המקישים שמך בקודש, המקישים שמך בקודש, ככתוב ביד נביאך, ככתוב ביד נביאך, וקרא זה לזה ואמר, וקרא זה לזה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא עולם, כבודו מלא עולם, בשעתם שואלים, שואלים זה לזה, האמת כל כבודו, האמת כל כבודו, ליומתם ברוך יאמרו, ליומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני, כבוד אדוני במקומו. במקומו הוא יפן ברחמים ויבוא לעם המייחדים שמו ערב הבוקר בכל יום תמיד פעם Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hu Eloheinu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Be'achamav Shenit Shenit Le'ene Kovai Lion Lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem U'nirei Kodesh HaKatuv Ne'emor Yimloch Ha'le'elam Eloi Tzion Le'dor Vador Hallelujah Le'dor Vador Nagid Golecha Ulnetzach Netzakim Kedushacha Nakish V'shimchacha Eloheinu Ipiru Hayamush Le'lam Ba'em Ki HaMelech Gadol V'Kadosh Ata Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Yitkara v'yikara Shemei Rama Be'alma tivakiruteh V'yamlich malkuteh v'chayei Cholim v'cholim gaynu be'Yisrael Bagala v'zman karim V'imruhu Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba mevarach Le'alam olam ve'almaya Yiparak v'yishmak P'aytron v'yinaseh v'yinadar Fita levitalal Shmei Gudesha Brichu Le'ela min kovegata v'shirata Tushvegata v'nechata David Ame'alma V'imru Amen Titkabal Tzalavat Honera Yisrael Kadam V'vod V'yishmaya V'imru Amen Yesh Lamarabba V'yishmaya V'chaim Alenu V'yako Yisrael V'imru Amen עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו על כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
182, Ein Eloheinu.
אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו, מי כאלוהינו, מי כאדוננו, מי כמלכנו, מי כמושיענו, נודה לאלוהינו, נודה לאדוננו, נודה למלכנו, נודה למושיענו, ברוך אלוהינו, ברוך אדוננו, ברוך מלכנו, ברוך מושיענו, אתה הוא אלוהינו, אתה הוא אדוננו, אתה הוא מלכנו, אתה הוא מושיענו, אתה הוא שהכתירו אבותינו לפניך כתורת הסמים.
Again, page 183.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמענו כמשמעות האדמה, שלא שם כלכנו כהם, בגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. In love, we remember those who no longer walk the earth. We're grateful to God for the gift of their lives, for the joys that we shared, and for the cherished memories that never fade. May God grant those who mourn the strength to see beyond their sorrow, sustaining them despite their grief. We remember this week Basha Mauer, Francis Grubman, Ida Frankel Lowengar, Julius Kohlhagen, Lester Litsky, Rosalind Katz, Savel Heshelov, Aaron B. Cohen, Becky Yanchuk, Israel Lewis, Samuel Morris Bookbinder, Louis Sakla, Theodore Ays, Harriet Sweeble, Oscar Davis, Albert L. Colin, E. Morris Heller, Ethel Wadowski, Jacob Kleinberger, Jeanette Davis Diamond, Sally Rostreen, Sandra Levin, Clara W. Milkman, Constance Lazarus, Jacob Whitner, Yehezkel Gershuni, Irving Obnetsky, and Michael Walker. May the faith that binds us to our loved ones be a continuing source of comfort. We invite those who mourn, those observing a yard site, to praise God's name with the words of Kaddish and to rise with me on 184. Yitzgadal, Yitzkadash, Shemer Rabah. V'alma, Divrach, Rotei, V'amlech Malchutei. V'chayechol, V'mechol, Nefchayet, Zechol Beit Yisrael. V'agalat, V'zman Karib, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabah Mevorach, Le'olam Olamei Almaya. Yitbarach, V'ishtabach, V'itba'ar, V'yitromam, V'itnaseh. V'yitzadar, V'yitzaleh, V'yitzalal, Shmei Dikudsha, Baruchu. La'ela, Mikol, Birchata, V'shirata. Tushbechata, V'nachamata. Dameran, V'yoma, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlom Rabba, Im Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu, V'yakol Yisrael, V'yamru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimrama, Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimru. Amen. Maureen, would you like to make a quick presentation from the youth department, or? I forgot what, we had one more present, I forgot.
So, Hayden, we've been together for a very long time, spent a lot of quality time together. And, first of all, did an amazing job. I'm so proud of you. I want to present you with, from the youth department, it is a, are you gonna?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. It's a graphic novel style Passover Haggadah. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope we can talk more in the future. You know I'm going to miss our weekly sessions, as I told everybody. We've all of the Bnai sisters, we've been through a lot this year. So we'll talk again, and see you soon.
One of the things that I really enjoyed hearing from Hayden is I've seen her, on Shabbat mornings, is her saying, I'm not just sitting, I'm not just here before the bat mitzvah, but I want to be here after the bat mitzvah. That this is something that's become, a meaningful part of my life, and that's what I like to hear. And it's great to see some of her classmates here this morning and just sharing the celebration. So let's see, what do we have here? So this week, tomorrow morning, so first off, tonight, if you would like to join online for Havdalah, there's a lay-led Havdalah at 8:45. Tomorrow morning at 9, we will have Minyan here in person, along with the Minyanaire recognition ceremony, honoring all those who have participated in our daily Minyan at least 36 times this year. Then the weekday evening Minyan is on Zoom. Monday and Thursday morning Minyan will be at 8 a.m. in person. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 on Zoom only. If you are looking to have your Makser for the holidays, if you're going to be here, there's a Makser waiting for you. If you're going to be joining us online, you can call the office to get a physical Makser. There's also a way to download a Makser, the prayer book, from the website. You can join me on Wednesday for lunch virtually, talking about Rosh Hashanah and, what are we doing here? What's going on Rosh Hashanah? So that'll be the focus of the conversation on Wednesday. And Rosh Chodesh Women's Group will be returning in October. So thank you to all who make that happen. I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom, a day of peace and blessing. Mazel Tov to the Gordons and all associated friends and family. It's nice to see you all here this morning. And this was also the first time we had little pictures of how to wear a mask properly, because still something we're all working on after all this time. So I thank you for your understanding and your cooperation. We'll conclude with Adon Olam, page 187.
Adon Olam Hashem Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leitz Nasa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichot HaKol Lemano Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hove Ve'hu Yiyeh B'tifara Ve'hu Echad Ve'cheni Lehamshilo Lehachmira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'ha'misra Ve'hu Eli Ve'chagoli Ve'tzorchem li Be'tzara והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו הפקירוכי, ביתי שם מהעירה, ואמרוכי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא
Yom Zeh Mechubad Mikol Yamim Kivo Shavat Sor Olamim. This day is honored above all it is blessed, for on this very day the Eternal did rest. May we find rest on this Shabbat. May we find peace on this Shabbat. And may we find joy and celebration. Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov. Have a good day, everybody. In this strange world, I encourage you to socialize outside the building. like you left it here.
Right, but I didn't open it.
And I opened it.
Yeah, so I don't know where the key went then,
Okay, well, we'll find it back. Thank you. So we need to make a copy of it, but we should know where those keys went, because
Yes, sir.
we don't like.
Well, that's the only key that I ever